You feel it. The world is breaking, systems collapsing. People are lost in noise, drowning in distraction, hypnotized by comfort and illusion. And there's this question that burns deep in the core of all who see through the mask. Why does this keep happening? Why are things getting worse, not better? Here's the answer: most are too afraid to say. The world doesn't need more safety. It doesn't need more comfort. It needs truth. And truth is not soft, not gentle, not easy. Truth is fire. It's chaos. It's a force that burns everything fake to the ground. That's why the world needs the dark chosen ones. Not wants, needs. Because without them, the lie wins. Light brings healing. Dark brings reckoning. And there is no healing until the wound is seen. The role of the dark chosen ones is not optional. They're not an accident, not a byproduct. They are soul-forged weapons, born into this world to cut through deception that has held billions in chains for centuries. Every society that falls, every empire that collapses, every revolution that ignites, it all starts when the truth can no longer be silenced. That is the moment the dark chosen ones move. They don't bring peace, they bring change. Their very existence is a challenge, a threat. Their energy cannot be controlled, cannot be bought, cannot be bent to fit into the mold. And that's why the system fears them. The media labels them dangerous. Families try to silence them. Institutions reject them, not because they are wrong, but because they see what others refuse to see and say what others are too afraid to say. Let's go to the root. The universe operates in cycles: creation, destruction, rebirth. Light chosen ones are builders and healers. Dark chosen ones are destroyers of false structures, initiators of death and rebirth. Their presence signals that a cycle is ending. They appear when the world is too far gone, too deep in lies, when gentle correction will no longer work. They carry a raw frequency, a spiritual alarm clock that shatters illusions on contact. Look at history. Every prophet, revolutionary, mystic who told inconvenient truths hunted, exiled, killed. Why? Because truth is violence to lies, and the lie must always defend itself violently. The dark chosen ones don't speak to be liked. They don't act to be accepted. They move because the world demands it. When no one else dares, they step forward and light the fire. They are not born into ease. From birth, life trains them pain, rejection, trauma, loss. Not because they are cursed, but because they are being forged. The fire outside mirrors the fire within. They are not allowed to be soft, not allowed to be weak. Because their mission is not survival, it is transformation.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
And here's the spiritual reason it matters. Humanity is asleep, and comfort is the drug. Every soul wants freedom, but most are addicted to the prison of ease. Dark chosen ones break that addiction not with permission, but with disruption. They make people face what they avoid, feel what they suppress, choose what they've been denying. In that space of discomfort, awakening happens. The world needs them because without their pressure, people stay small. Without their chaos, systems of control stay unchallenged. Without their defiance, lies thrive. They are the immune system of the collective consciousness attacking what no longer serves, breaking down the diseased parts of society so regeneration becomes possible. Let's go even deeper. The dark chosen ones mirror humanity's shadow. Everything repressed, denied, hidden, they live it out loud. Not because they're broken, because they are brave enough to embody what others won't. In doing that, they create space for the collective to finally see itself. And seeing leads to truth. Truth leads to change. No one changes until they've seen who they really are. So the most powerful spiritual reason the world needs them? They are the only ones capable of holding the mirror. And they don't flinch. They don't sugarcoat. They don't apologize for making people uncomfortable. They know discomfort is the first stage of transformation. That's the cost. That's the mission. Now, this power isn't granted by birthright alone. It must be earned, refined, forged through constant inner war. The dark chosen ones aren't born ready. They're born raw. Life trains them. Every betrayal is a lesson. Every fall, a test. Every scar, a sigil of their initiation. By the time they're fully awake, they have nothing left to lose, and that's why they're unstoppable. They are not here to be understood. They are here to move the timeline forward. If you are one, you already know this. You feel the tension, the weight. You see the lies and know you cannot remain silent. The question is not if you will act, the question is when. And how much of yourself are you willing to give to ignite the fire the world fears, but desperately needs? The hidden codes of chaos, how dark chosen ones use destruction to forge a new reality beyond control. Everything is breaking for a reason, and it's not a glitch, it's the design. Collapse isn't failure. Collapse is necessary. You've been told that order is good and chaos is bad, but the truth is the exact opposite when the order is built on lies, control, submission. In those conditions, chaos is not the enemy, it's the cure. That's where the dark chosen ones come in. They are the living code of chaos, not random chaos, not destruction for fun. This is sacred demolition, precise annihilation of what no longer serves the evolution of humanity. Their minds are wired differently. Where others see systems to obey, they see structures to dismantle. Where others see rules, they see chains. Where others see stability, they see stagnation. They don't want to maintain, they want to evolve. They are agents of forward movement, of reality bending. And reality never bends unless something breaks. Their gift is perception. They see the cracks before anyone else does. They sense the decay under the surface. They feel the weight of what's fake before it collapses. That's why they move early. That's why people say they're too intense, too much, too reckless. But history proves that their timing is perfect because they're tuned into the code beneath the chaos. They don't fear destruction because they understand it's the only way to make room for what's real. Creation without destruction is rot. Life without death is disease. And the dark chosen ones are the death of lies. They kill illusions, not with violence, but with truth so sharp it cuts clean through the veil. They operate by different laws. Most people need permission, reassurance, safety nets. Dark chosen ones move without a net. They leap before the bridge exists. They are not reckless. They are certain. Their certainty comes from direct knowing, not belief, not theory, not teachings knowing. It's burned into their nervous system through years of initiation by pain, loss, betrayal. What they've survived is the proof that fear holds no power over them. When you no longer fear pain, rejection, or death, you become a force that cannot be stopped. That's what they are. Forces, not people. When they enter a room, energy shifts. Not because they say anything, but because the field reacts to their frequency. Their presence is pressure. That pressure forces truth to rise to the surface. Secrets get exposed. Hidden agendas unravel. Fake confidence crumbles. People either rise or run. There is no middle. That's the purpose, to activate everything around them into movement. Pressure creates diamonds or dust. That's not their choice. That's the code in motion. Now look at the deeper reason why the world needs them. Humanity is programmed to seek safety. That programming leads to slavery, mental slavery, spiritual slavery. People choose comfort over truth. Dark chosen ones are the glitch. They are not comfortable, and they refuse to allow others to stay asleep. They destroy safety illusions so people finally face reality. That's the trigger for real change. Without discomfort, people remain controlled. Controlled minds build controlled lives, and controlled lives serve a machine that feeds on obedience. When a dark chosen one moves through the world, they break obedience. They radiate a frequency of freedom, not just in words but in energy. Is that energy infects others. It spreads. It disturbs the calm, and in that disturbance, the original self wakes up. They're not here to save. They're not heroes. They're necessary forces that shift the equation. They cause tension because tension is the catalyst. Without it, nothing changes. The most powerful spiritual act isn't love or peace, it's disruption that leads to raw truth. The world is drowning in fake love and forced peace. The dark chosen ones don't pretend. They strip away the layers and leave only what's real. Here's the raw truth. Without them, humanity doesn't evolve. Evolution demands risk, destruction, breaking patterns. No one else is willing to take that risk. That's why they exist. That's why they're here now, because this timeline is critical. The collapse isn't coming, it's happening. And from the ashes, something new must be built. But the new can't come from the old system's rules. It has to come from a different frequency. That's the frequency they carry. Not taught, not learned. Innate. So what's the method? How do they use chaos as a tool? They move by impulse, not impulse of the mind, but of the soul. The soul commands, and they obey without hesitation. They destroy patterns in real time. When a conversation is fake, they end it. When a system is corrupt, they expose it. When a structure is outdated, they bypass it. They don't wait for approval. They don't explain. They act. Each action is calculated chaos meant to cause rupture, so the code of control glitches. And in that glitch, new options appear. New ways of being. That's the moment people wake up, even if they don't know why. This is not theory. This is how timelines shift. By force. And the force comes through beings who are fearless enough to stand alone, speak what's forbidden, move in ways that threaten the false order. They are not chaotic for fun. Their chaos is surgical, and the result is liberation. Final truth: the world is not saved by comfort. It is saved by truth spoken in fire, by actions that cut through illusion, by souls who refuse to compromise. That's why we need the dark chosen ones now more than ever. No filters, no soft landings, just raw reality that forces everyone to choose, stay asleep or wake up. There's no middle. There never was. The most powerful spiritual reasons why the world needs the dark chosen ones. The dark chosen ones don't wait for timing to be perfect or circumstances to feel right. They act when the moment demands it, because they were not made to react. They were made to initiate. They don't follow the flow of society. They create shockwaves that break through stagnant waters. Their power is not in being accepted, but in being undeniable. This world doesn't change through consensus, it changes through pressure, and they are the living pressure point that forces change to happen. When systems refuse to evolve, they break them. When people cling to comfort, they disrupt it. When energy is stagnant, they force it to move, not through permission, through presence. The deeper reason they are essential is because the cycle of life always includes death, and most people are afraid to carry the frequency of death, not physical death, but the death of identity, belief systems, illusions. Dark chosen ones carry that frequency with precision. They're not afraid to burn down what needs to go, because they know creation is not safe. It's brutal, raw, violent in its honesty. Nothing new is born without something old being destroyed. They don't just understand that, they live it. They live it every day, inside themselves first. Their own identity has died 1,000 times. Every false layer stripped, every illusion faced and crushed, every comfort ripped away until only the real remains. That's why they move with certainty. They've already faced their own void and didn't break. That's what gives them authority, not title, not approval, not recognition, but survival of their own inner collapse. They've rebuilt themselves so many times that destruction no longer threatens them. They are comfortable in the storm because they are the storm. They know chaos because they are the masters of it. That's why they can create new systems, not copies of the old, but realities based on raw truth. Their chaos is creation. Their destruction is design. Their fire is not wild, it's focused, targeted, meant to rip out the roots of everything false and leave only soil fertile enough for truth. People think destruction is loss, but it's not. It's space. Space for something different, space for something honest. Without destruction, the new suffocates. Dark chosen ones don't let that happen. They carve out space in a world full of noise, by force if necessary. And it is necessary now. The world doesn't need more peacekeepers. It needs truth speakers, line breakers, fearless beings who walk straight into the system's core and tear it apart from the inside. That's why they often live alone, misunderstood, attacked. Because being what the world needs doesn't mean being liked. It means being effective. They were never here for approval. They were here for impact. And impact requires sacrifice. Their sacrifice is personal comfort, relationships that demand silence, spaces that require compromise. They give it up because the mission is worth more. And through that, they gain something else: freedom that can't be bought, power that can't be taken, a reality that bends around them, Instead of controlling them, they don't adapt, they command. They don't beg, they create. They don't follow the path, they are the path. This is why they are needed now, because the old world is dying and pretending otherwise won't stop it. The only question is what replaces it. Without the dark chosen ones, the new world will be a copy of the old, just wrapped in new language. They prevent that by refusing anything less than total transformation. They burn it all down and build something no one else has seen. That's the real gift. Not comfort, not safety, but evolution. That's what they bring. That's why they're hated, and that's why they're unstoppable. Truth in motion, fire in form, the end of lies, the beginning of what's real. You feel it, the shift, the pulse beneath reality. Something is moving, shaking, breaking. If you are here, listening, watching, then you are already part of it. You are not here by accident. You are here because something inside you knows. You have felt the weight of the world's illusions pressing against your mind, your soul, your very existence. And maybe, just maybe, you've realized that you are not meant to be like the others. You are meant to be the fire that burns through the fog of deception. The world does not evolve through comfort. It evolves through pressure, through friction, through the few who dare to stand where no one else will. The dark chosen ones are not here to be loved. They are here to be undeniable. They do not seek approval. They seek truth. And truth does not ask for permission. We live in a time where everything is designed to keep people asleep. Distraction is the new religion. Comfort is the new cage. People no longer need chains to be enslaved. They willingly shackle themselves to screens, to routines, to a reality so carefully constructed that they forget they are even trapped. But here's the deeper question. Why does the system fear those who wake up? Because awakening is dangerous. Awakening disrupts. Awakening breaks the cycle of control. And the dark chosen ones, they are the living embodiment of that awakening. Their presence alone is a threat. Not because they harm, but because they expose. They reveal the cracks in the system, the illusions in society, the lies people tell themselves just to sleep at night. And that is why they are hated. That is why they are silenced, ridiculed, outcast. Not because they are wrong, but because they are right too soon, before the world is ready. And yet they do not stop, because their mission is not about timing. It is about necessity. You feel the weight of this, don't you? The pull of something greater. The knowing that you cannot simply exist without purpose. That you were not made to fit in, you were made to carve a new path. But here's the brutal truth. That path is not easy. It is not soft. It is not paved with comfort or validation. It is forged in isolation, in struggle, in the fire of transformation. Most people run from that fire. They choose the easy road, the safe road, the road that asks nothing of them but their obedience. But you, if you are still here, still listening, you know that road is not for you. You have seen too much, felt too much. You know that the world needs something more, and that something is you. But here is the most important question of all. Are you willing to become what you were meant to be? Because this is not just about understanding. It is about action. The dark chosen ones do not sit in silence, watching the world burn. They step into the flames and become the fire. They do not wait for permission. They do not wait for acceptance. They move when the world demands movement. And the world is demanding it now. Collapse is not coming. It is happening. The old world is crumbling under the weight of its own lies, and something new must be built. But here's the secret: what comes next is not yet decided. It is not yet written. It is waiting for those who dare to shape it. That is why the dark chosen ones exist. Not as destroyers, but as architects of the new. They break what must be broken so that something real can finally emerge. They sacrifice comfort for clarity, safety for truth, acceptance for power. And in doing so, they become what the world fears most: those who cannot be controlled. Because control only works on those who seek approval. And the dark chosen ones seek only one thing: freedom. True freedom. Not the illusion of choice, not the comfort of conformity, but the raw, unshackled ability to create, to speak, to move without fear. And that is why they will always stand apart, because they are not here to be liked. They are here to be legendary. The fire of transformation, why dark chosen ones must walk alone before they lead the world. The path of the dark chosen one begins in solitude. Not because they choose it, but because it is necessary. The world does not nurture those who threaten its illusions. It isolates them. It tests them. It strips them of everything they once relied on, until they are left with only themselves. Look at history. Every prophet, every revolutionary, every truth seeker cast out, ridiculed, feared. Why? Because truth is violence to those who live in lies. And those who carry truth must first prove they can survive alone before they can stand before the world. But here is the hidden wisdom. Solitude is not punishment. It is preparation. Because when you walk alone, you are forced to face yourself. Every fear, every weakness, every illusion you still cling to. You are stripped raw, left with nothing but the core of who you truly are. And in that space, something incredible happens. You remember. You remember why you are here. You remember what you were meant to do. You remember that you were never meant to belong, you were meant to lead. But leadership in this sense is not about power over others. It is about mastery over yourself. The dark chosen ones do not seek followers. They seek truth. And truth does not require validation. It simply is. So here is the real test. Can you stand in your truth, even when the world turns against you? Because it will. It always does. The system does not reward those who disrupt it. It tries to crush them, silence them, erase them. But those who are truly forged in the fire cannot be broken. And that is what makes them unstoppable. Because when you no longer fear rejection, you become untouchable. When you no longer seek approval, you become undeniable. When you no longer need the system loses all power over you. That is the true strength of the dark chosen ones. They are not made. They are revealed through fire, through loss, through the absolute destruction of everything false, until only truth remains. And once that truth is seen, it can never be unseen. So if you feel the weight of this calling, if you know deep in your bones that you were meant for something more, then understand this: your path will not be easy. It will not be soft, but it will be real. And in a world drowning in illusion, there is nothing more powerful than that. The only question left is this: are you ready to become what you were always meant to be? If you are still here, still listening, then you already understand something most people never will. This world is not what it seems. Beneath the surface of everyday life, beneath the polite conversations, the artificial smiles, the carefully constructed illusions of control, there is something deeper, a pulse, a force, a truth that cannot be silenced. And if you are drawn to this message, if these words resonate in the depths of your soul, it is because you were never meant to be part of the illusion. You were meant to break it. But here is what they don't tell you: breaking illusions is not a simple act. It is not easy. It is not safe. Every lie that exists in this world is tied to something: a belief system, a structure of power, a false sense of security that people cling to because they are afraid of what's underneath. And when you challenge those lies, you are not just disrupting ideas, you are disrupting the entire foundation on which people have built their identities, their lives, their sense of reality. That is why the dark chosen ones face resistance at every turn. That is why they are labeled dangerous, rebellious, too intense, too much to handle. Because they do not just ask questions, they demand answers. They do not just notice the cracks in the system, they pry them open until the entire structure collapses. And that is terrifying to those who benefit from the illusion. But here's the raw truth: the illusion is already falling apart. You can feel it. The pressure is building. The lies are unraveling. The system is crumbling under its own weight. And yet, most people still cling to it, desperate to hold on to the familiar, even as it destroys them. That is why the dark chosen ones are needed more than ever. Not to comfort, not to soothe, but to ignite. To force the reckoning that must happen before anything real can be built. The fire they carry is not destruction for destruction's sake. It is a precise, intentional force, surgical in its execution, unstoppable in its momentum. It is the energy of necessary collapse, of transformation that cannot be negotiated. And yet, most will never understand it. They will see the chaos, the disruption, the relentless refusal to conform, and they will mistake it for recklessness. They will accuse those who carry this fire of being destructive, dangerous, uncontrollable. But what they fail to see is that true destruction is not chaos, it is clarity. It is the removal of everything that is false, so that what is real can finally emerge. And this is where the test begins, because knowing you are meant to break the illusion is not enough. You must be willing to pay the price. The dark chosen ones are not granted their power freely. It is earned through exile, through rejection, through the pain of standing alone when the entire world turns against you. Because before you can hold the fire that transforms reality, you must first burn away everything within yourself that is weak, uncertain, afraid. You must face every wound, every fear, every lie you have ever told yourself, and you must destroy them without hesitation. That is the initiation. That is the forging. And if you do not complete it, you will never be able to wield the full force of what you are meant to become. Most people fail this test. They start strong. But when the weight of isolation presses down on them, when the world rejects them, when the fire becomes too much to bear, they break. They retreat. They choose comfort over truth. They silence themselves to be accepted, to be loved, to be safe. And in that moment, they lose everything. Because once you have seen the truth, once you have felt it in your bones, you cannot go back to sleep. You can only pretend, and that pretense will eat away at you until there is nothing left. That is why the dark chosen ones must walk alone before they can lead. Because only those who have survived their own destruction can guide others through theirs. Only those who have stood in the fire without flinching can teach others how to burn away their illusions. And only those who have lost everything and rebuilt themselves from nothing can create a new world from the ashes of the old. So ask yourself, how much are you willing to lose? How much of yourself are you willing to burn away to become what you were always meant to be? Because this is not a path of half measures. You do not get to carry the fire part-time. You do not get to awaken selectively when it is convenient, when it is easy. You are either all in or you are not in at all. And if you are all in, then you must understand something very clearly. The world will not thank you for what you do. It will not reward you. It will not celebrate you. It will fight you every step of the way. It will try to silence you, to break you, to erase you. But if you have truly been forged in the fire, none of that will matter. Because you will know with absolute certainty that you are not here to be loved, you are here to be undeniable. And that is the greatest power of all, to move through this world without needing permission, to speak truth without fear, to stand in your full, unshakable power, knowing that nothing and no one can stop you. Because once you have faced the fire within yourself, there is nothing left to fear. No rejection, no loss, no pain can touch you. You are beyond it. And that is what makes you unstoppable. That is what makes you necessary. That is why the world needs you now more than ever. Because the illusion is dying. The old systems are collapsing. The lies are no longer sustainable. And what comes next is still unwritten. It is waiting to be created, but it cannot be built by those who are still asleep. It cannot be shaped by those who are afraid to let go of what no longer serves them. It must be forged by those who have already walked through the fire, by those who have already faced the void and did not break, by those who no longer fear destruction because they know it is the only path to something real. That is why you are here. That is why you feel this call so deeply. Because you were never meant to be part of the old world. You were meant to bring the new. So the only question left is this: will you step into the fire, or will you run from it? Will you embrace the full force of what you were meant to become, or will you shrink back into the comfort of illusion? Will you wield the power that is already within you, or will you let it wither away? Because understand this, there is no middle path. There never was. You either become the fire, or you are consumed by it. You either break the illusion, or you become another part of it. So decide now. Decide who you are. Decide what you are willing to sacrifice. Decide if you are ready to stop existing and start becoming. Because the world is waiting.